This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The Cowboys are on the clock.
Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
The Dallas Cowboys select Ezekiel Elliott.
And now, your hosts, Dane Brugler, David Hellman, and Brian Broaddus.
66 days until the NFL draft takes place here in Dallas-Fort Worth area, Arlington, Texas.
I keep forgetting that it's happening here.
Yeah.
Like we do this anyway, but yeah, it's happening right down the road.
It is very exciting that we'll have the draft here at AT&T Stadium. Looking forward to that. We will be here at the Star all 3 of those days, covering it for you. So, yeah, it is upon us. Next Tuesday, this group will be in Indianapolis for the Combine. So looking forward to that as well. Stories from the Combine, get a chance to visit with players, general managers, coaches. We'll hear all the rumors, speculation, try and get a little bit better idea of what's going on coming up with this draft, and then we will hit into some pro days. I'm planning on going to the University of Alabama myself and checking that out, so we'll be involved with all those. As the big voice guy said, it's Brian Broaddus here with Dane Brugler, David Hellman, Kent Garrison, executive producing from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. We did a show, boys, earlier there where we traded back and decided where we would like to potentially land this thing, pick some players, maybe pick up some picks along the way. We were thinking about top 100 picks. We determined though that we weren't going to take a offensive guard or an offensive lineman unless we got a 3rd round pick out of that. Am I correct about that, Dave?
Well, that was me.
Yeah.
I am not in favor of drafting an offensive lineman unless it's Quentin Nelson, top 20 in this draft. But that's just me. There could be a scenario where that's all that's left for the Cowboys at 19.
Yeah.
But if you can trade back, pick up a 3rd, I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens with this, with the guard spot. Will they, in fact, do they like these guards enough? I mean, we've talked about that. You're a little bit of mercy of the board where they're at 19. If it, in fact, is a guard there, is he better than a defensive tackle or a safety or a corner or a wide receiver? So we'll see. I want to get to the bottom of that too. And that's one of my plans at the Combine, to try and get an idea. The one technique. Where is that going to fall? Where is the guard going to fall on this board? Do they like these guys as much as we like these guys? That's what I'm going to try and determine. And I think that'll tell us what direction this thing might go at 19. But to this point, though, I want to ask you guys as we get going on the show. Are there players in this draft that you're willing to trade up for? Are there guys, and again, and I'm going to take this thing all the way up to Tampa Bay's pick at 7, if I could. That's how far I think that.
Getting bold.
I'm getting bold. I'm going to get bold there. Now, I think when you get to the 6, when you get to the Jets, you're starting to talk about next year's ones and things like that. And that's for another discussion, by the way. I want to have a discussion with you guys.
We just had it up in the office. You don't want to just bring it here?
Oh no, I'm going to have this discussion.
Okay.
I'm going to have this discussion about next year's ones because I sense that you guys are not interested in moving next year's one.
Never.
Not this year, no.
No. But
I wouldn't say
But
never,
you guys were basically telling me though you wouldn't move next year's one unless it was for a quarterback. And then I reminded you about guys like Khalil Mack, Aaron Donnell.
We take last year. Like Myles Garrett is a player that
Garrett, yeah, there you go.
That's a player that I would consider. Like let's just say Myles Garrett was in this draft. I would consider using next year's one to trade up to get Myles Garrett. There's no question. I would consider it. Now, would I pull the trigger?
So Aaron Donnell, that didn't interest you. Having Aaron Donnell on your team for next year's one didn't interest you.
Obviously, it's interesting, but
hindsight.
No, I'm just telling you, though. You guys kind of flatly said it was nothing but quarterback or nothing.
I just don't know if the risk is worth the reward, especially because you don't have the benefit of.
Where did you have Aaron Donald on your board?
Gosh, I don't remember.
Was he a top 5?
No, I wasn't as high on him as I should have been. I mean, I think I was somewhere in the 8 to
Okay.
12 area.
Most people
Where'd you
thought
have-
he fell where he should have.
Okay, I'll give you my bad example. Where'd you have Joey Bosa?
High, top 5, top
Okay.
4, top 3.
Ramsey?
He was that top 5 that year was ridiculous. With
Zeke?
the top 5 or the number 1 player to me was Laramie Tunsil, and then I think it was Ramsey, Bosa, Zeke, Miles Jack. So yeah, I mean that draft was ridiculous in the top 5.
So we wouldn't give up our if we're evaluating these guys and he's a top 5 player for you. All those guys you mentioned were top 5 players, right? Mm-hmm. But we wouldn't give up next year's one for a top 5 player.
It just depends because.
And I'm not saying it's a hindsight deal. I'm saying if you because what's very evident to me is you've evaluated the position correctly, or you've evaluated the players correctly.
What you need to do is look at the player on your respective team and try to decide, okay, how many more, you hear in baseball, you hear the term wins above replacement. How many wins is this
Right.
player? Okay, you kind of have to do that with this discussion about if you're going to trade up for this player, does he help you win more football games? And how significant of an increase in the win-loss record can he be? So a player, especially at a premium position like a pass rusher, Myles Garrett, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, to me, the second most important position on your roster, that is a position that you absolutely should consider trading up for if you think he's an elite player.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll make the point I made upstairs, which, going back to 2010, 6 of the Cowboys' last 8 first-round picks are either Pro
Bowl
Bowlers,
players,
if not all Pro players. So going from Dez Bryant to, Taco. We'll see how that pans out. But right now, in a span where you can fairly evaluate them, Mo and Byron are
the one guy you traded up for.
Good point, Brian. The one guy you traded up for is the one that didn't pan out. So this is a front office.
Oh, I'm being fair here.
This is a front office that's hitting something like 85% on its first round picks in terms of finding guys. So would you rather?
I'm saying in general.
Would you rather have like 2 Pro Bowl caliber players or 1 Aaron Donald type player, assuming that it pans out, assuming that it does, which you can never guarantee?
just a high risk, high reward.
It is.
Oh no, the whole thing. I get the whole
risk
thing.
averse when it.
But
comes to the draft.
I'm giving you guys credit for identifying Khalil Mack, Ramsey, Bosa, Aaron Donald. I'm giving you guys credit for that.
There are definitely players that are good enough to justify it.
Let's bring it back to this draft.
But I heard upstairs you guys say I'd only do it for a quarterback.
That is where it makes the most sense because look,
What's the bust factor on those cats?
of course, but look what Deshaun Watson can do for your team. I mean, obviously before he got hurt, but
Carson Wentz.
yeah,
Goff.
that's another one. Yeah, I mean,
There you go. That's right.
Wentz has been so good that I almost
First year?
I mean, he was not terrible for the fact that he was a rookie.
But the word "so good" was just
He was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt this year. Like,
Sure.
But my point is, I forget sometimes that the Eagles even made that move.
Yeah.
But they did. You're right.
trading a future 1 to go get him.
Yeah.
Anyone in this draft that you would trade a 1 to go get?
Nelson.
You would trade next year's 1 to go get him.
Yes.
Just in a vacuum or for this team?
He's one of my top 3 players. Nelson.
Okay.
Oh man.
So you think he would, going back to what I was saying about,
I think
Win.
and again, I'm just saying one of my top 3 players.
Sure, that
and
doesn't
he
mean you
fits,
trade
and
up
he fits, he fits perfectly what the Cowboys need. I'm taking the Cowboys out of the equation. Nelson to me is a guy that's going to play 12, 15 years in this league.
agree?
Easily. The way he plays, his demeanor, his toughness. You talk about the run that Zach Martin's been on. This kid's going to be on a similar run.
But you're giving up. I mean, that's
Giving up Taco to go get him.
No,
Not necessarily.
So you would have drafted.
Okay,
Taco.
I'm giving up Hurst to go get him.
You're giving up Hurst and
you're giving
next
up
year's
Hurst
1.
and some kid, some other badass. Then next year you're gonna be like, oh, if only we had a pick so we could get Devin White or.
Well, okay. And if you're focusing on this team, and how much of a difference would Nelson make on this team right now?
He would help, but I don't think, going back to what I was saying about wins above replacement and how many wins is he helping
Yeah.
to, I don't think Nelson is going to move.
He's
the
not
needle.
worth about 2 or 3 extra wins.
Dane is
I
smarter
don't
than me.
think so.
That's why it makes sense to
love
do
Nelson.
it. That's why it makes sense to do it for a quarterback because no other position affects your wins and losses more.
Nelson's
So
the
if-
best player in this draft. But I don't think he's good for 2 or 3 more wins.
How many more wins better does he make this team if you don't? I mean, let's say they do a bad job of fixing the defense or upgrading the defense, and they don't really change the outlook at wide receiver. How much better does he make the team?
Oh, he makes his team a lot better offensively. He does. He absolutely does.
3 wins?
That's what I'm saying. You go from a 9-win team to 12-win team?
I don't think so.
I don't think you're right.
Not an offensive guard on this team. Because the offensive line, if everyone's healthy, is...
What's the strength of this team? You say the offensive line. When they won 13 games, what was the strength of this team?
The offensive line.
Yeah. Let's not forget that, boys.
They were firing on a lot of other
Let's not forget. Okay.
But you don't have to go
I'll
get
tell you,
Nelson
what
to
would
make it
Bosa
affect
have done
your
for
team.
this team?
He would have helped. Certainly.
Bosa? Ramsey?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If Myles Garrett was in this draft, that's a name I would consider trading up for.
He's the only one you sound like you would be trading up for.
Can we just call it what it is? This is kind of a weak draft.
Yeah, they're not 10 true top 10 players. This isn't a blue chip draft.
Okay,
This
so
isn't
you're telling me
2016.
there's nobody. Okay, so I can't get you to move up. Okay, obviously I can't get you to move up to the Jets at 6.
No.
I can't get you
Not
to
if
do
it
that.
takes a future one.
Okay. And then, so kick Tampa out of the mix if you're looking at a 2, 3, and a 4, potentially, right?
Well, I mean, let's talk about players.
No,
who are we going up?
you
trying to
guys
get?
just told me there's nobody worth trading up for.
So who are you
Are
trying to
there?
get?
No, I was. That's my question to you guys.
That's my point. Is there's not very many.
You guys are saying this draft stinks.
There aren't. It doesn't. No draft stinks. There's always good players in every
What did
draft.
you just say?
It's
a bad
It is.
draft.
It is weak compared to 2 years ago. It is
Could
not
you
that type of
explain
draft.
to him that scouts, every time they hear that it's a weak draft, go do your job. Go find some players.
No, that's not true. Like you can go back and chart.
Dave.
You can go back and chart these things, Brian. You can go look at 2011 when like half of the first round is Pro Bowlers, and you can.
He
look,
ain't buying a word you're saying.
go look
right
at.
now.
I can pull up the 2013 first round for you.
In this draft, I don't think you have to trade up into the top 10 to get a difference maker. Like, I think you can still get one in the teens.
What is his thought about that drafts? This draft is not good.
Well, it's a good draft. It's just not. It's not top heavy. We don't have the.
See, that bothers me when people say that.
3 of the top 15 picks in 2013.
Go do your job.
Reach the Pro
Go be good at your job.
It's
Go find some players.
not a bad thing to say.
That's
that
a poor scout excuse.
I disagree.
It's not an excuse to say that.
It is an excuse.
No,
Not
it's not.
to say that other drafts were stronger at the
it's,
top.
It's not
How
an
is that
excuse to say that some
It's an
drafts have better talent at the top. That's
Yeah.
not an excuse. That's just a fact.
But it's an excuse to say
So,
that, we're just going to throw up our hands and say, it's not a good draft.
No, that's not.
Sorry.
No, we're saying we're not going to trade up and get rid of assets to get. A
Oh,
player
why?
that's probably
Because you
not
want to
worth it.
draft?
Because I don't want to get rid of my picks to get a player that's probably not worth. That
Oh, it's a
type of
bad
move.
draft, though, Dave.
It's a draft where I'm not trying to make.
Why don't you go get the
drastic
best
moves.
player then?
You're not baiting me right now. It's not going to work.
What?
The odds that I'm going to trade up and get a guy that's worth getting rid of future picks instead of just staying where I am.
Did he tell me?
Or maybe even
poor
trading
draft?
back.
Did he tell me that?
Bro,
He said it's not a top-heavy draft.
Wait,
So why not
yeah,
go
it's
get the
not.
best player?
How do you feel?
it's not a top heavy draft.
How do you feel about your top 10 in this draft as opposed to 2016?
Oh, you're right. That part of it, you're right. But I'm just saying. Okay, well then why don't?
Am I taking crazy pills?
No. But you're saying though, is overall it's not a good draft, but you're only saying it's only because of one part.
We're talking about the first round here. We're not talking
Okay.
about rounds 1 to 7. That's
Okay,
the
then
conversation.
why don't you say that?
Well, it was implied that we're talking about the first round picks. That was implied. with
Yeah,
this
I mean, like
conversation.
this draft class has plenty of strengths at certain positions. I think there's great value, second, third round, which goes to the overall point about being reluctant to trade those picks, because I think the strength of this draft is on day 2, and because there aren't those blue chippers at the top, there aren't those true difference makers. Again, I love Quentin Nelson; he's the best player in this draft. I don't think he's a difference maker for this team. I think he'd be an awesome addition. He'd be a heck of a guy to put out there. I don't think he's worth 2 or 3 wins.
Who is worth 2 or 3 wins in this draft at the top of the board?
I'm not sure there is one for this team. For other teams, maybe. Maybe Quentin Nelson is for another team, but I don't think for this team. Saquon Barkley, maybe for another team. Not for this team, obviously, with Zeke. The guy I keep coming back to, there's 2 guys I keep coming back to. Calvin Ridley and Roquan Smith. Those are 2 guys
I like
who
that.
I think can make an immediate impact and be a core player on the roster moving forward. Let me ask you a question. Say they draft, you like Calvin Ridley, right?
I do.
Alabama wide receiver.
I do. But I don't know if I would trade up for him.
Well, let's just say that he's on this team, that he's their first round pick. Either he lasts to 19 or they trade up for him. How long before he is the number one wide receiver on this team? Not like the role number one, but the most talented wide receiver on this team.
Is Des Bryant still on this team?
Yes.
I think because we look at receivers all the time and say it probably takes 2-3 years before they even.
Well, you've done the evaluation. Calvin Ridley specifically. How long?
See, we made the mistake of trading up for a wide. We're trading for 2 1s for Joey Galloway. Mm-hmm. There's your misevaluation right there.
Okay.
What's your best factor on these wide receivers now? See, I'm not sure if you guys are telling me. See, the one thing I'm trying to trade up for is a guard who I know can play. That's what I would do. You guys are trying to trade up for risk players.
I'm not.
Okay, would you rather have Quentin Nelson or Isaiah Wynn in next year's one?
I'd rather have Quentin Nelson.
Okay, I'd rather have Wynn. Again, if you insert Wynn at left guard, I don't think. I think.
Are we over-evaluating Wynn?
No, I don't think so. Look, Nelson is the number one player in this draft. That doesn't mean that he is going to win you X amount of games more than if Wynn. Again, and we're talking about the Cowboys. We're talking about their roster, their situation, their depth chart. And I'm going back to the question I asked you before because I want an answer.
On
Calvin Ridley, if he's on this team, how long before he is the best receiver on this team?
2 years.
It's a long time.
2 years.
See, I think at some point in his rookie season, he'd be the best receiver on this team.
There we go.
Not immediate. I'm not saying from training camp.
You've seen him? You say that?
I like Calvin Ridley a lot, but I don't see.
You like Moore or Ridley better? Who you like?
I mean, I love DJ Moore. I don't know that I don't know that he's any better. And part of the reason that I love DJ Moore is like the value, because I don't think you have to take him at 19. Do I know that he lasts till 50? Probably not. But I don't see I don't see the win above replacement for Calvin Ridley being that disgusting, to be honest with you.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how long before you think he's the best receiver on this team?
I don't think it would be during his rookie season.
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay,
let me ask you this. Tell me what you said about Smith, about he's that I hear he's not for everybody, size limitations.
Roquan?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm...
But we're trading up for that?
Okay, well, trust the evaluation. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm hoping he comes in at 6'002.
223.
Yeah, 223, runs at 4.76.
Sure.
Not great, average.
But see, he's not, as you said, he's not for everybody, right?
He might not be, no. I mean, we don't know how the 18 teams that pick in front of the Cowboys are going to think, how they're going to look at Roquan Smith and...
Would you give a second-round pick for him? Would you go to Cincinnati at 12 and give a second-round pick?
Now you're talking about things that I would do. And I said off the air...
That'd be tough to not do.
Okay,
I would do that
if
for
I
Derwin
had
James,
to give a second... Who are you going to give a second-round pick for? Ridley or Smith?
Roquan's higher on my board, and so I would go and get Roquan.
Now you're talking about things I'm more willing to do.
All right, let me put out this scenario. What would you rather do? Trade 19 and a 2 to go up and get Roquan, or 19 and a 3 to go up, say, to 15 and get Calvin Ridley?
I think I'd rather have the linebacker, even for the higher cost. If you told me we're not going to pick at 50, but we got Roquan.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I'm trying to help my quarterback.
Yeah. No, that's a thing.
And if Smith's not for everybody, and I'm a Smith fan. Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, Edmonds is not as high on your list then, right?
He's like 12. I'm not as high on Edmonds as everyone else.
Let me ask you this. Would you go to Cincinnati at 12, give the 2 to get Smith, or would you go to Arizona at 15 and give up a third and get Edmonds for this team?
I'd go and get the higher player on my board, Roquan. I like Edmonds a lot. I just think there's going to be... I don't think he's going to help you as much as a rookie as what you're hoping. Especially for this team. It's a win-now team.
Do you think Ridley really helps you that much this first year? You said halfway through the first year, he's your best receiver.
Yeah. I don't know about halfway, but I think at some point during his rookie year, I think he you could look at him as the best receiver on the team.
Can you get him? Can we get him for Green Bay's pick? Or we give a third and a fourth to go get him at 14? Are we willing to do that?
I think I'd be looking at 15 in Arizona.
So let's determine here. We're not willing to give up. Well, okay, take that back. We are willing to give up the second at Cincinnati at 12.
I like how you keep using Cincinnati, who notoriously doesn't trade.
I'm just trying to get him to trade, though.
I know.
But okay, I'll do this. Miami at 11.
Okay.
Miami 11, same thing.
If it's for a player that I feel great about, I mean, the guy I said was Derwin James. If you told me I could get Derwin James.
Okay, throw him in the mix. Derwin James at 11.
If you told me I could do that and give up the second, so I get Derwin James and then I pick in the third, I could live with that.
Smith or James for the 11th or 12th, but that's both the second round pick.
Give me Smith. I think he's a better player.
I think James just has so much upside, and also you could put him on the field quicker. Knock on wood, assuming Jalen Smith and Sean Lee are healthy this year. I mean, ideally,
I'm learning that Edmonds is clearly out of the picture here.
in an ideal scenario,
Does Vita Vea come in here anywhere?
Not for me, no.
I'm not trading up for a D tackle.
Okay, we're cool because we know the defensive tackle's got a pretty good depth.
Yeah, with the one techniques in this draft.
Yeah, let's ride it.
Sanat, UCF.
I think-
Yeah, well, there you go.
Kid.
I think this is a really
like
good discussion, though, because of all the positions. And if you go back to last week's show when we talked about all the positions, like linebacker and safety are ones, at least where I don't feel good about addressing that position in a meaningful way outside of maybe the first round. Or
kind
maybe
of feel that way about wide receivers, don't we? We feel good about wide receivers.
No.
Opposite at wide receiver.
Yeah.
No. I'm just thinking in my mind. I was just not in that way. I'm sorry. What you're saying is absolutely correct. I was just in my mind thinking about wide receivers with the defensive tackle, the depth. I'm sorry. I was just thinking
exactly.
out loud.
I like Calvin Ridley as a player,
Right.
but with
But
all
you
the
like others more.
with all the guys,
Miller, guys like that, right?
with all the guys that are back there, there's other wide receivers you can add that are good. You're not screwed if you don't add Calvin Ridley to this team.
Right. Yeah, there's plenty of talent wide receiver in this draft. Plenty of talent.
Give me the top three guys you trade up then out of our discussion. Who we determined?
Well, I mean, we have to eliminate guys like Bradley Chubb and
Yeah,
Nelson.
we're not take those guys out of the mix.
Right.
We're not going to dance up there.
Realistically, I think Roquan for me would be the top guy.
Okay.
And then Ridley.
Okay.
I say Roquan, Edmonds, James. Can I throw in an edge rusher? Are we just writing that off? I know Chubb's maybe not an option.
Davenport?
I don't think I don't know. If they love him.
Boy, would that be? There's your. Did you feel like you evaluated him correctly?
I would not be trading him for Marcus Davenport, no. Not for this team.
So you would fight me in the draft room if I got on the phone and tried to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Did you do that?
Taco Charlton to him, meaning
He's right.
year one, you're not going to get
I'm just seeing where he's at.
I love Marcus Davenport. I think he's going to be a very good player in this league, but he's not going to help you in a big way in year one. That's an upside pick.
Just asking.
I'll tell you what. I think we've got some names that we're willing to go do.
Well, I think Derwin James is an interesting one because I agree about Roquan Smith. I think we all agree on Roquan. Edmonds is debatable.
Yeah.
Derwin James, and a part of that is the lack of depth at safety this year.
That's the thing that scares me.
But it sounds like from my scouting buddies here that we're willing to go somewhere between 11 and 12 for a big time player.
11 and 15.
No, 11 and 12, and then
okay.
maybe at 15 we're trying to go get. Is James our target at 15?
James be there at 15. I don't know.
I saw your mock. I believe he was 17 to Baltimore.
Chargers.
Oh, Chargers. I'm sorry, my bad.
Derwin James is such a wild card
16
because
is Baltimore.
Again, he's a better athlete than football player. We say it every single show. That's going to be evaluated differently by every team. Every team's going to see the upside, but it's going to be another thing to actually write the name down on the card and turn it in. Because again, just upside pick.
Yeah.
So
I like James.
He could go top 10.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us would be shocked if he did.
No, that's the
If
thing.
he does that, it'll be interesting to see. But I like what we're saying. I like what I'm saying here from you guys. At least you'd give up the second to go to either the Dolphins at 11 or Cincinnati at 12.
I'd think about it. I'm not ready to just say I would do.
No. You guys are in, huh?
I would. Yeah, I think the two areas I'd look at. I'd give up a second to go up and get Quan, and I'd give up a third to go and get Ridley. That's just me.
Okay. So the third would be Arizona. So our 2 points, somewhere between 12 and 15, is where this team should look to trade. Yeah. But we've talked about the players. It's quality players there. Quality players.
Well, and I think that you're hoping that we see 3 quarterbacks top 10. Yeah. You're hoping we see 4 quarterbacks top 11, top 12.
Right.
And if that's the case, then all of a sudden those picks 12, 13, 14 are looking a lot better. And you might have a chance to maybe give a third and a fourth to go. And you don't have to, you can hold on to that too.
Yeah, you got those compensatories too. We're going to get, that'll be in March. Yeah. One more thing. As we did this exercise, did you feel better about going up or going back?
Oh,
that's a good question.
That is a good question. At the end of the day, I feel better about the caliber of player you can get going up, but I want picks, so
sure. It's such a risky proposition because when you trade up, you know who you're getting.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know you're trading up for a specific player, so you know who you're getting. If you trade back, there's some. I mean, just like there's risk trading up, there's risk trading back because you don't know who's going to be available. If the Cowboys go from 19 to 26, you don't know who's there.
And by the way, if you go to Atlanta at 26, aggressive team, Tommy Dimitroff, my buddy, that's a third and a fifth you're getting out of that.
Okay, well, just as a hypothetical, if you told me I could trade up for Roquan Smith and use and lose a pick, or I could trade back and let's just say it's Isaiah Wynn and gain 2 more picks, I'll do that. And I like knowing full well that Wynn is a lesser player and maybe not even a guy Dane wants to draft in the first round. But
if you dangle that third, he's in.
Well, but it's tough.
Third and a fifth.
Again, that third isn't a top 75 pick. The Falcons' third rounders going to be like 87.
No. It's you're looking, yeah.
So that I don't have a firm answer for you about what I'd rather do. You know, if I'd rather have the Georgia linebacker or trade back, gain picks, and
get the Georgia guard.
Yeah, I didn't mean to use 2 Georgia players.
No, I think that's real.
No, you didn't. You can. Okay, what if it's Hernandez then?
Either way, I'm getting a starting play. I'm getting a starter in the first round and adding 2 more picks to what I already have. Which, by the way, you've got like 3 or 4 comp picks coming too. So like you're talking about picking a lot on day 2 and day 3 in that scenario.
Well, and you're giving yourself ammo that in the second round
you can move again.
You want to move up to get DJ Moore. You want to whatever you want to do. Yeah, it gives you options. This is something that we're gonna have to revisit.
Oh, absolutely. I just like to get it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, one more thing. I know Kent's killing me right now. I got to go to a break.
Yeah, we're only 10 minutes over.
That was the fastest 30 minutes of the day right there. Pittsburgh's second round pick at 28 that you would get. You would go from 19 to 28 and pick up their second. Or use that pick or you lose your second and go to Miami at 11.
So I can trade back again?
You trade back automatically. I'm just throwing it out there one more time.
Yeah.
You get to go to 28 and pick up a second.
Yeah.
Or you can go to 11 and give up your 2.
So you either give up a 2
or get a 2.
And so I'm picking 3 times in the top 60. Ish. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
As opposed to once.
Tell me how bad that draft is now, Dave Hellman.
But it's all about.
I'm just busting.
I know, but it's all about.
I'll never take it personal here in the old draft room.
Never.
What do you want?
No, I'd trade back. Because I can probably still, I would hope I could still maybe.
He wanted Derwin James. He wanted him. And now he doesn't.
That's not what I said. You asked me a question.
I'm trying to read your answer. I'm just in the war room here trying to read your answer. I'm going to see how committed you are to getting Derwin James. I think I got him on board.
For Roquan.
Okay. Now there's going to be a good fight.
But we could probably still get Hernandez at 28, couldn't we?
That's the risk.
We could still get our guy. We could still get a starter.
That second, could we get Galden? Tennessee?
Oh, I'd love that.
That's what I'm talking about.
All
you
right.
go
another day, another show.
28, 50, whatever their pick is. Like, just give me all the picks.
I love this.
He sounds like us.
He sounds like, give me picks. All right, Kent, I'm really sorry about going 10 minutes over. When we come back, we'll get in some Twitter questions. Maybe you guys want to refute everything that we just said or ask us some questions. Make sure you're hitting us at The Draft Show or at David Hellman's account there, Hellman DC. We'll be back from the SWBC Mortgage Studios in just a minute.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
What does it mean to be a Dallas Cowboys fan? It means you've got the passion and the heart to do your part supporting the boys no matter what. That's why when the game's on the line, you're on your feet, whether you're at home or in the stands. Actually, you're more than a fan. You are a member of Cowboys Nation, and so is AT&T, doing their part to keep you connected to America's team all season long. AT&T is a proud member of Cowboys Nation.
Ice Cold Dr. Pepper and the Dallas Cowboys go way back. They belong together, like Texas and football, silver and blue, shotgun formations and Hail Marys. Having a Cowboys football party without Dr. Pepper is like having Thanksgiving without the Cowboys. Basically, we wouldn't recommend it. So, next time you have a tailgate, home gate, or whatever else kind of gate, grab some ice cold Dr. Pepper for you and your friends to enjoy. It's a Dallas Cowboys tradition. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
To work this big land, you need equipment with values rooted as deep in Texas soil as you are. Like John Deere compact tractors with a 6-year powertrain warranty and big features that help you work less so you have more time to do what you love. John Deere was first in the Texas fields, and we're proud to be on the field as the official ag and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Find Texas-sized deals at myjohndeerdealer.com/football. Terms, conditions, exclusions, and warranty limitations apply. See dealer for details.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The Cowboys are on the clock.
Back here in the SWBC Mortgage Studios, Brian Broaddus, Dane Brugler, David Hellman, Kent Garrison, executive producing today, as always. I love those kind of conversations when you can have those about up and back, and I always like to see how committed guys are to players, because I got challenged so much on that. The guys I grew up with there in Green Bay, Wolf would just challenge the heck out of you.
Yeah.
To see how much you really wanted a player.
Wait, I don't think I'd be any good at that, because I don't think I love any player enough to just be like, yes.
I'll tell you what, it is. I just wish everybody that loves the draft could be a part of a war room discussion.
Oh, we need to sell that as a sponsorship package.
Yeah, a week in the war room. I mean, you learn a lot about yourself. Sometimes you couldn't drive a nail up your rear. You're so nervous about discussions, but
I'm sure.
What a mental image.
But no, seriously, I appreciate you guys. I mean, I try and beat you guys up. Well, I got beat up.
Do beat us up.
That's what, like you said, it's kind of what a war room is.
You got to be tough.
Especially when you're building the draft board.
Yeah.
There's no fence sitting.
No, I mean, hey, listen, trust me. I've taken a beating on Jalen Smith. I've taken a beating on Joey Bosa. It's made me a better evaluator.
Oh, yeah. It's all about batting average.
Hey, just keep beating me up. That's fine.
I promise you, there's a player in this draft, probably several players that we think are first-round players that won't turn out to be.
Yeah. That whole thing about the guard, I don't know what they'll really do at that spot. I really don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, how could you?
Maybe we'll think about that. I mean, we love guys. We have some guys, we love them, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. All right, this is one of my favorite. You can say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to get into the Twitter questions.
I will do that. Okay. Hey, Kent, hit that sounder for me, please.
Twitter on the 20.
And we're about 14 minutes late on that, so we'll try and do that. Also, the number 888-855-2297. Be real nice to Kent Garrison if you want to chime in on the discussion that we had. Feel free to call in. Kent will get you on air after we do some Twitter questions. Go ahead, Dave.
This question from Wayne kind of plays into the first segment, which is, I think it's interesting. He wants to know, do teams put draft value on their current roster? And so, you remember, you heard the reports that maybe the Cowboys might have been shopping Orlando Scandrick last year.
Right.
And I mean, how does that work? Like, is there a time where you sit?
I never really.
You sit in that room and you're like, all right, these are our top 51, and this is what we would want for them if somebody called. Did teams do that? It seems like it would be smart.
Yeah, I think that the discussion generally is if you've moved on from a guy, you've moved on from a guy. You're not trying to give away guys, but if your mind, you're kind of thinking, you know what, here's a guy we're willing to push along just to kind of maybe make the deal a little bit better for somebody. Maybe somebody requests a guy from you.
Well, and
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
James Whalen, and this goes way back. James Whalen was a tight end that was here with the Cowboys that the Cincinnati Bengals at one time wanted. And actually, Jim Lippincott from the Bengals calls me up and he goes, hey, we'd be interested in James Whalen. We're moving TJ Houshmandzadeh. And so I asked, I'm kind of thinking, I know how much we really didn't like James Whalen. So I just immediately said, yeah, that'd be great. You want us to turn in the paperwork? You got that. And then he goes, oh, well, we'll think about it here for a sec. Let me a little thing. I'll get back with you. And then they call back and said they didn't want to do it.
You got to be less eager. You can't.
No, I just know how much we didn't want James Whalen.
But you gave it away. You can't let them know.
Do you want me to pack his bags for you?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, no, I just asked. I mean, hey, if you're willing to move on, they sound like they were willing to move on from TJ Houshmandzadeh.
So you think it's only guys that they want to move on? And I think Wayne used this as an example. It's probably a little extreme, but obviously,
Dez.
You don't have any interest in trading Zach Martin, obviously. No. But if somebody called and was just like, "This is what we're willing to give you," I mean,
that's fair.
Oh yeah.
If you were to say, okay, what would be fair for Dez Bryant? I saw some people over the weekend who were tweeting at me about Earl Thomas and Dez Bryant.
Yeah,
you trade them straight up. Well, okay, the cap hit for the Seahawks, I think it's $1.9 million for a trade, and Dallas's is over $8 million, or even more than that, maybe 12.
Dez has a few more years left.
Yeah, see, it's actually 2 more. He's got 1 more year. So now, where's the trade value there? People say no. They think it's you try and line things up,
right?
But it's very rare that you get a trade of that.
But you have seen more player for player swaps recently than
if it's 1 year, 1 year.
Well, or if it's 2 guys on their rookie deal.
Right.
I don't know.
That's exactly right.
I don't know how you.
It's hard to trade
these 2 contracts.
It's hard to trade $10 to $15 million players.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to do that, especially if they're not on the same deal, and if you're thinking about cap charges is another thing. But the value. Now, I believe the Saints were the team. I wouldn't be surprised. Saints might have an eye on Orlando Scandrick, and then you would say, okay, what would you like?
Yeah.
What are you willing to part for him?
Yeah.
And you could say, well, and again, folks, I'm just saying he was part of the trade deal. I'm not trading him right now. I'm just saying
all hypothetical.
Yeah, he was part of a trade thing. So, yeah.
Michael wants to know: are we sure we're out on right end? Just in terms of that being a need, and he mentioned Harold Landry as a guy.
Sure,
you see him in the mix at 19. I feel we mentioned this when we did Make Me Feel Better last week. I think we would all probably agree that drafting a right end wouldn't be the end of the world for this team by any measure. I just don't know how I feel about the value where this team is sitting right now. At least that's how I see it.
Wake Forest,
You're talking about second or third round?
Probably second there, right?
I'm talking 19 specifically.
Oh, okay.
So Harold Landry, Marcus Davenport.
That's after that. What else you got? I mean,
depending on how
Sam Hubbard,
Arden Key.
No, that's not happening.
Well, no, I threw his name in there and I grimaced as that happened. Arden Key. Yeah.
Basically what you're saying, it's the value and going defensive end in the first round last year. I mean, no matter what happened for Taco as a rookie, they're not giving up on him. I mean, they still have high hopes for him. They still think he's going to be a starter in this league. You're going to franchise tag DeMarcus Lawrence, most likely.
Yeah.
And then after that, who knows? You can't really count on Randy Gregory for anything.
No. Even though I'm hearing whispers that he is working very hard to try and get reinstated.
Who's your starting defensive ends on the 2019 Cowboys?
Tank and Tyrone. Just like it was. 19. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I skipped ahead. Or I didn't skip ahead. You skipped ahead.
Do you think you think Tank is going to get
get
extended?
So you think he's getting extended?
That's what he just said.
If you think he's getting extended, then we don't need to talk about defensive end at 19.
They could tag him again.
Yeah, they could.
I don't. Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I would assume he's going to get extended.
If there's doubt, then I think you think more about defensive end at 19. But is
there a guy that fits the value? Like Harold Landry, would you draft him there?
Not at 19, no. And I don't think he's really a fit for this team.
I don't either. That's a lot of tweeners.
Yeah, I've got Landry.
A lot of tweeners here.
Yeah, I've got Landry. I mean, I've got him in that group like we talked about, where Davenport and
Combine's going to be big for Landry. The medicals, and then let's get some numbers on him. How big is he? Is he
250?
6'1.5", 248?
Yeah.
I mean, what is he going to be numbers-wise? And then if he is undersized, well, you better test well. Your 10-yard split, your 3-cone, you better have big numbers if you're going to be an undersized pass rusher.
Yeah.
Tripp wants to know, we were talking about Derwin James earlier, how versatile is he? And I've heard y'all talk about how he can play both safety spots, but Tripp specifically wants to know, like, is this a guy that could play big nickel or big dime and like be that versatile to where you could use him as linebacker?
Yeah,
in some
he can do
spots.
that. I think so. Yeah. I mean, he did everything at Florida State except put his hand on the ground.
Good blitzer too, by the way.
Excellent blitzer.
He is. When he comes off the edge, there's some disruption there. Knocking passes down and playing in lanes and understanding all that.
He lined up outside corner.
Yeah.
I mean, he did everything. So I think that might be the best position for him, is that big nickel defender.
Absolutely.
The guy that you can use as I don't know, is this defense that creative?
Trading up there, Dave?
Where they can do that?
You interested in going to Arizona now at 15?
Here's the thing. I think when it's all said and done, I saw a short video of him doing he was practicing his vertical at whatever training complex
He flies.
he's at. When it's all said and done,
Dane, when we first started this exercise back in January, Dane was talking about how well he'll test.
I think he was one of the top 5 players back at that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be everybody's just going to, after listening to the draft show, all of a sudden then you're going to watch him test and you're going to go, oh,
we're talking about him as a top 20 pick right now, and that's based on potential plus some of his tape. We say his tape's not amazing, but you see enough there that you're excited. Add that to what I think his numbers are going to be. I bet he's a top 10 pick. Like, I don't genuinely think the Cowboys are going to be able to sniff him.
Plus, you hear his teammates talk about him. It's like big time stuff. It's, he keeps us in line. He holds us accountable. He's a vocal leader. He takes care of us. I mean, they just glow about Derwin James.
Yeah, he's not going to be there. I hope so, though.
No, I doubt it.
Friend of the show, Bobby, wants to know that's Bobby Belt.
Right.
Which best player at his position is most likely to fall to 19? So whether that could be Calvin Ridley, that could be.
Well, let's see. It won't be quarterback, won't be running back, won't be guard, tackle.
Who would that be?
Whoever your top tackle is.
It's funny that you say that, but I know Fitzpatrick, is he your top corner or
He's
Ward?
my top corner, yeah.
Okay, Ward is my top corner, Ohio State.
And I don't over Minka, or you have Minka at safety?
No, I have him over Minka.
Okay. And I don't think either are going to be. They're both top 10 picks to me.
Okay,
but
so I'm just kind of okay. Now we talked about Smith. Roquan Smith. We don't think he'll be there.
Doubtful.
Could Vita Vea? Could that be the possibility there? I mean, is he the one guy likely? I mean, maybe somebody doesn't say that they don't want the 340-pound really good player.
The very athletic.
Is he the best? Is he the best one technique?
I think he. See, I have problems with Vita Vea. I don't love him as much as you guys do.
No. Do you not have him in the first round?
I mean, I do.
Okay.
But
if he's not, okay, then do you have him at 1-2?
Yes.
Okay, 1-2 would tell me, okay, so you have him in the back of the first.
Well, I have him. He's top 20 for me.
Okay, if he's top 20, then all right.
But I know. I mean, a lot of people around the league believe he's a
Is there any
lock top
chance-
15 guy.
I wonder if any chance that, how about this? Any chance that people have Ronald Jones, USC, over Barkley?
I'd be surprised.
I would be surprised.
I mean, we all love Ronald Jones.
I could see him going in the first round, but not over.
I could see him going in top 20. Seattle. I mean, I could see that, but
not over Barkley though.
Yeah, I mean,
not over Barkley. Okay.
I don't see Barkley falling out of the top 10, and I don't think Ronald Jones gets to the top 10.
McClinchy, tackle, Notre Dame.
Is that your top tackle?
That's my top tackle.
Okay.
Could McClinchy be? I mean, is he the top tackle?
Well, that's kind of the greater discussion. I mean,
do you have
Orlando Brown, Connor Williams,
yeah.
McGlinchey? I mean, you're going to get different answers depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, I think McClinchy is my top. He's my top tackle. He could very well be there at 19.
I think he will be there at 19. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're talking tackle and
your first tight end will be there. Your first tight end will be there. Yeah.
Good one.
Hurst, in my opinion.
Center.
Yeah. Center. exactly. Yeah.
And maybe defensive tackle.
See, that's Hurst. Hurst is the best 3 technique.
I say if you divide them 3 techniques.
You're dividing positions there. So
Right.
Who would you rather have, Hurst or Vita Vea?
I mean, 2 different positions.
Give me a tackle.
Well, it's tough because they're 2 different. It's like saying what's the better defensive back? Denzel Ward or Derwin James. Well, they played 2 different positions.
I'm just saying for the position, just for the sake of defensive tackle.
I think they would take Hurst.
Who would you have? Okay, compare. Just put them together.
I mean, I have Hurst rated higher than Vita Vea on my board.
Okay, so he would take Hurst
if I needed a 3 technique. Yeah,
but that's assuming David Irving is here for 2018, which we'll just say that's the case.
Would you draft Hurst anyway because of if you know that David Irving was only going to be here for a year?
But I don't think you can go wrong either way. But this team doesn't have a real nose tackle. That's the thing I keep going back to.
The addition of a nose tackle to this front 7 would help in so many ways. I'd love to see him add that nose tackle.
I think I would take Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Thank you, Vita Vea. I could not get that out. Yeah. I think I would take Vea.
So where's Vea on your board, Ross?
First round.
Top tackle?
Top tackle. Him and Hurst. Now the problem is, though, now all of a sudden I've got all these 1 techniques that I absolutely love.
Yep.
That's true.
And so I'm not totally interested in Vita Vea.
Yeah, but they're not.
You must not love him that much.
Well, he's my top tackle, though.
What are the odds this team spends 2?
That sounds funny, doesn't it? But he is my top tackle. But you know what? If I game is due, if I were to lose him, I'm okay with the guys behind him.
In this scenario where it's Hurst or Vea, though, the odds that they're going to draft 2 defensive tackles in premium spots seems.
I'm taking Vea then.
There you go.
Is that what you wanted to know?
That was the question.
Well, no, I tried to get you guys to say which one of the defensive tackles you would take.
I would take Vea.
It just depends on the team. I mean, for this team, I would love to see them add the nose tackle, and then you let Malik Collins be your 3 and see how that plays out.
Sure.
But, again, we talk about the 1 techniques in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
You can get one in the 2nd or 3rd round and be just fine.
We boring you, Dave?
No, I'm just sleepy. Sorry.
Okay. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh, my bad. Nobody would have known if you hadn't called it out.
I just make sure, your 2 guys are sitting there scouting with you, making sure you're okay.
It's Monday morning.
Yeah. Why don't you be better at your job? Let's go.
I'm good. All right.
It's way too early for that. It's only Monday.
We talked about this a little bit, but it's of primary concern to me, so I'm going to bring it back up because Trevor wants to know a center fielder type of safety that you can find outside of round 1, like a guy who you think can cover, who could maybe get some picks since nobody on this team likes doing that.
I know who Broadus is going to say.
I know who you're going to say. You're going to bring up your guy from Pitt.
Yeah, I think he'd be my top guy over Broadus' top guy, Jesse Bates.
Bates, yeah.
From where?
Wake Forest.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
You see him playing a lot of zone coverage, so you see him play back a lot, and that's what he does. He kind of reads, rallies, gets to the ball, tackles. He has got some range to him. Whitehead is Pitt.
Yeah, I think the athletic upside. I think I can get that type of center field.
I have him around behind Bates.
I've got the opposite. I've got a 2-3 on Whitehead and a 3 on Bates.
Okay.
And the thing with Bates we talked about before, under 200 pounds, that worries me a little bit. Just his ability to hold up and versus the run, and we know what he can do as a center fielder, but will he be able to hold up? I don't know. I got some questions there.
Play Galden. You give me a corner.
Give me Galden.
Give me Galden all day. If I can't get James,
I've hooked you, man.
No, you have.
I've got you hooked on Galden.
Yeah, he walked in and said, "Hey, Brian, you might want to take a look at this number 7 from Tennessee." And I'm like, okay. Start watching him. I'm going, okay. Why have we not talked about this guy?
Yeah,
I'd say the media scouts are a little behind on him right now.
A lot of people are behind on him.
Catch up on him later.
I want to watch him because I've watched Whitehead and I did not like him. So, and I don't think they're getting Derwin James, and I would like to add a solid safety to this draft class. So,
Alden, give me him as the guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's who I would be. I think you're going to have to tag Galden at 50 if you want to get him.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe he might be gone earlier than that.
He should be gone, but there's a chance he could be there at 50.
Let's see.
Christian wants to know, the way this draft falls, do you think it's realistic that Dallas drafts offense twice in the first 3 rounds?
So you're basically talking probably a guard and a wide receiver?
Yeah.
That's the plausible, which
maybe tight end?
Yeah, that's another
Maybe.
one. There you go.
maybe. I hope not, but maybe.
But yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I mean, you never rule something out, but
At some point in time, they're going to have to grab a linebacker.
Well, and it might depend on what they do in free agency.
there's a huge piece of this puzzle missing.
Right.
If
If they add a veteran guard, on the cheap, then that lessens the chance they go guard in the first few rounds.
Warner or Jasicki?
Talking about BYU linebacker?
Yep.
Fred Warner.
I don't want a tight end. Give me Fred Warner.
I'd take Warner. Yeah.
You take Warner over Jasicki?
Yeah.
And you like Jasicki, don't you?
I think I have a 3 on him.
What do you have Warner as, a 2 or 3? 2-3.
I got 2 3s on both of them.
Okay.
But I'd have Warner ahead of him.
See, I'm trying to get you to say who you would take Warner over the tight end. So that in his mind, he would not take. You would you said three draft 3
Two offensive players in the first 3 rounds.
Okay, then you wouldn't.
I would
do that.
Well,
even if they took a guard first, you would still take Warner in the second over Jasicki if they were looking at tight end.
And then I'd take.
I don't disagree with him.
Look at Ian Thomas in the 3rd.
Okay, who's your 3rd round linebacker? You looking at Griffin?
No,
stop.
Malik Jefferson.
Sky Moore.
I've got a 4 on Sky Moore.
How about our?
What do you have? Oh, you have Jefferson. What about Leonard?
Got a 3-4 on him.
Okay, so we're still.
What about the Boise kid, Van Der Esch?
See that?
Van Der Esch.
I need to go back and watch.
No,
him
you don't.
Yes, you do.
Trust your.
I went back and watched him, and
He said watch the Oregon game, and he
Watch the
played
Oregon
like the second coming of anybody you want to.
don't be stubborn. Go back and watch.
I'm going to go back and watch it.
And if you feel the same way as you did before, then that will give you even more confidence that your evaluation is right. But if
What did you not like about? What did you not like about Van Der Esch before?
I didn't think he was very and this isn't fair. This isn't fair at all because you're talking about the 2 best guys in the draft, but you go watch Quan and Edmonds just smacking people. I just didn't think he was very physical, and I didn't think he.
I thought he was outstanding in coverage. That's the best trait I thought he had. I did not see a physical guy. Now, if you tell me that Oregon game, he's going to tackle everybody and be physical and get off blocks and all that, I'm dancing right with you.
I think he's an ascending player. I think he's this is a guy. I mentioned this a lot, but the most fascinating part of the draft process is the journey. And with Van Der Esch, he was playing 8-man football in high school. He was a quarterback in Idaho, in the middle of nowhere. Walked on to Boise State, barely played the first few years as he kind of got acclimated to just what they're asking him to do. And then I think as you saw this past year, you saw him get better and better as the season went on. And I think he's an ascending player. I think he's going to get better and better. So I think when you factor that in, that helps the evaluation a little bit. First time I watched him, I didn't see a playmaker. More I watched, I kind of appreciated what he did.
Off the one game or just multiple?
No, multiple games. But and again, I don't like him to say he's a first-round pick, but I took him from a 3.
Would you take him at 50?
I would consider him. I don't think he'd be he's going to be right around that range. He'd be probably in the discussion. I would hope there'd be better players or higher players on my board there at 50, but he'd be in the discussion.
I know people.
You're playing him inside or outside?
For this team,
yes,
probably outside. But I wouldn't. Probably outside, yeah.
I watched that Clinchy.
I want to watch him. And I know Cowboys fans don't want to hear about another hurt guy, but
I don't blame him.
And you said he played 8 games or something.
He's played 7 games the last 2 years. He hasn't played football since last October.
Okay,
I'm intrigued.
His tape though was at 16 was so much better than any hurt guy I've ever seen.
Watch him against LSU.
Yeah, no doubt.
You see the lateral quickness, and he another former walk-on.
Why are we not talking about Evans at all? Alabama.
Rashawn, we talked about him.
I don't think we've talked about him as much in the linebacker mix.
He's kind of in that no man's land where I don't think I'd take him at 19, but I don't think he lasts till 50. So he's kind of in that no man's land where maybe he's a trade back option I don't think we mentioned him enough as a trade back option.
Alabama guys are banged up, those defenders.
Well, I just said Van Der Esch wasn't physical. I watched him, and
It's the opposite.
he's like, he murders you if he hits you, but
Yeah.
I don't trust that he's going to do everything right to
Yeah.
get to the point of the ball.
There's some discipline issues. There's no doubt. Good athlete. I'm eager to see how he tests, see how he does. I mean, you saw him dropping coverage sometimes, not a lot. More of a downhill player, put his hand on the ground on passing downs, rush off to the edge. But yeah, he's a guy that we should talk about as a trade back option if they do trade back in the first.
Kent, do we have any calls?
No calls right now.
Okay.
Jerks, we're
Wow.
out of questions too.
We're out of questions.
Out of questions. We're not,
No, we're not quite out of time.
not out of time yet, but
Did we take a second break? I guess we don't need to at this point.
do we?
We're past it at this point.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's fine.
We're gonna come back for 1 minute.
We got lost in the sauce.
I'm sorry about that, Kent. I really am.
Hey, it's President's Day.
I know. I'm
It's a holiday show.
I'm surprised with folks out there, off that they're not calling in saying hello to us.
But see, well, I don't know about calling in, but maybe we got fewer questions because there's nobody at work.
They're all doing
Like
something
Killing
else.
time.
Like you're killing time on Twitter. If you're not if you're off doing your own thing and you're not at work today, you're not on Twitter. At least
Let's
I
go
hope
back.
not.
Let's go back and rehash some things. What did we learn today? What did we learn today in our discussion?
We learned that you're combative and you want to try to force us to get rid of our draft.
You're the
picks.
Quentin Nelson of this room.
Yeah.
Vicious.
Be real with me. You would really do that. You would
Quentin Nelson?
take your scout's hat off. Don't think about it objectively. Think about for this team.
My scout just told me
What
that
this
he's the
team
best
needs.
player in the draft. He just told me that.
That doesn't mean
But
anything compared to.
adding him to this roster greatly hinders your ability to add other things to this roster. Does it not?
We're having a lot of discussion about guys that you really don't feel great about.
Oh, hey.
Vita Veas of the world.
I thought you meant Nelson. I was like, I don't
Not feeling-
remember us
and
praising.
He said he would trade up for Smith, but we're also looking at traits of Smith or measurables
Here-
that aren't ideal.
If you list the most important positions on this team, okay, where does
linebacker's one of them.
Where's left guard come?
Well, I think it's one of the top three. I think that's a problem.
No, I'm talking about just not needs. Take every position, say the top 22 positions, starting positions, quarterbacks 1, defensive end 2, blah, blah, blah.
I'm trying to.
Where's left guard on your team?
I'm trying to help my quarterback once again. I'm trying to help my quarterback.
So where does left guard is left guard is not probably not a top 10 position for you.
Don't you think you can help your quarterback without mortgaging your ability to address the rest of the team?
I hate the Band-Aid.
It's not a Band-Aid.
No. I hate the Band-Aid that you want to put there at left guard.
You're talking
all you
about
need, though.
You're talking about a free agent. It would
What was the biggest, David?
Would Will
I know.
Hernandez be a Band-Aid? Would he be a Band-Aid?
No, he wouldn't.
All right. Well, you
He
don't
wouldn't.
have to trade away a
But
future
I'd
first
have
get
to
him.
I'd have to hit him. Maybe have to hit him at 19, wouldn't I? If I'm going to stand in there and pick, I'm not going to.
I would.
If I can't trade back.
Draft away at 19. Draft a guard there if you want. Just don't give up a future first to go get the same guy. That's all I'm saying.
I don't back to the Isaiah Wynn or Quentin Nelson. Yeah, I don't think Quentin Nelson gives you more wins than Isaiah Wynn does. I don't think he adds 2 or 3 more wins than.
And I'm in favor of the $1.5 million free agent Band-Aid if it frees me up to spend draft picks on other spots.
As you watch the team win 9 games last year with it.
Evaluate.
I think they won 9 games because their left guard wasn't any good.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
their offensive line.
yeah.
That was part of their problem.
If Tyron Smith is hurt, then yeah,
The
that's
best
gonna be-
player on their offensive line was banged up and out for a solid chunk of the year. And then the best player on their
Just
offense
saying, I don't
was
want
6
a Band-Aid playing left guard. If I can,
Can we get him somewhere other than 5th overall and giving up our first round?
Okay, what do you
don't need an operation.
Where do you see Quentin? Where do you see Roquan Smith playing when he gets here?
I see him.
What? Excuse me.
Oh,
what position is Roquan Smith best suited for in the NFL?
Probably Will.
Who's your Will linebacker?
Sean Lee.
Okay.
No, yeah, no. If you're drafting,
Okay, excuse me.
I'm not worried about that at all.
What other position can Roquan Smith play?
Any position you want.
Mike linebacker?
He can play the mic. Absolutely. Yes.
let's go. See?
Okay.
Dane's not hesitating.
Okay. Where will he start with the Cowboys then?
I don't know.
What's his best position? You said his will linebacker was his best position.
What's his coaching staff going to want to do? They're going to want to move Sean Lee to the middle. Are they going to want to?
Oh, we don't want to do that.
I would bet you we don't know for sure because Matt Eberflus is no longer the coach here. But based on what they've done in past years, I would bet he would be Sean Lee's understudy, and they would cross-train him at all three positions to be the next guy up for any line.
Yeah, and we talk about every time these guys, this position flex, and what has it got us? We have 48 games with Byron Jones, and we haven't figured out where to play him yet, have we?
I can think
Roquan Smith's not. They're not going to have that problem. Roquan Smith can play the Mike. He can play the Will. We can get too caught up in the left end, right end.
I'm just trying to play him his best position.
To your point, ideally, I don't want to spend a first-round pick on a linebacker either because of what you just said, which is why
He'd like to trade up.
I didn't say that.
Dane would.
That.
Yeah, I would trade up.
I trust him too.
I would much rather spend money on a free agent, a Band-Aid, to be your insurance policy than draft a guy in the first round.
Band-Aid at linebacker or Band-Aid at guard?
I'd rather have the Band-Aid at guard because you've got more talent around you to help him.
Yes.
Whereas at line, if you draft Roquan Smith, you need to think about moving on from Sean Lee at some point anyway. So you're drafting him to be your will of the future.
Is there a chance that he won't start Roquan Smith?
Absolutely, there's a chance. Although
a chance he won't start.
Absolutely. Ideally, you probably don't want him to start right away, unless, which that's another conversation.
Put him on the field.
There's every
change your scheme, whatever. I don't care. Put him on the field. He's one of your. There are not 11 better defensive players on your roster. I don't care. Play him wherever you have to play him to get him on the field.
There's you could draft Roquan Smith and start him at the mic and let Jalen be your guy because he doesn't need to be out there for 60 snaps anyway. We learned that last year.
Fair point. Be careful. Done a nice job though.
And I think he will improve.
Trainers, everybody's done a great job with
I think he will improve in
Give them some credit.
No, absolutely. I think he will improve.
Evaluate better in free agency and get that guy at left guard.
There you go.
That frees up a lot of options on draft day.
I love when you guys commit.
I agree with Dane. Dane and I are the common sense on this show, and you're just the madman trying to
stir the pot.
Crazy. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining the draft show this week. Appreciate everybody out there. Enjoy your President's Day. We'll be back with you Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. We'll have some more discussions. Hopefully these guys won't quit and go to another club before you have a chance. But
never.
Again, Brian Broaddus, Dane Burglar, David Hellman, Kent Garrison. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you.